Hi, I'm Katie Cat, and this is our Wednesday Astro Tarot. We have some big dogs on the table. The opening card that we have for today is the Death card. The challenge that we are working with is the Empress. The way that we're going to get through the challenge is by way of the Hermit. And then the ultimate outcome came through as the Justice card, clarified by the Queen of Wands. So by the nature of there being so many major arcanas on the table, it is telling of some life lesson or big shift that is actually in the process of happening. And it's not something that is a day-to-day matter that, shifts really quickly. It's something that's a really big shift that's transformative in its nature, and that is because there's some big ending that is happening in our lives that is allowing for some kind of rebirthing process to come out of it. Now, consider that the Death card is our opening card today. Now, this card tends to intimidate a lot of people, but I have 5 planets in Scorpio, and the Death card is associated with Scorpio, so I don't necessarily get scared by this card. It's speaking of that time of year that is associated with the zodiac sign of Scorpio, when things are seemingly dying or pulling themselves inward so that they can be reborn in the coming year. So there is this deeply transformative process that is happening right now. Now, keep in mind, the sign of Scorpio, which governs this card, is ruled by the planet Pluto as well as the planet Mars. Mars has been in retrograde for a number of months. It just came out of retrograde on the 17th of January. So there's been possibly and most likely areas in your life where you felt like you really were called forward to go toward them, but you just didn't really have the motivation or really clarity by way of sense of direction into how to move toward that. Now, the Death card is a powerful card in that it is speaking of some kind of ending. And when we consider that the South Node is in Scorpio right now, and the North Node is in Taurus up with the planet Uranus, which has also been retrograde for a number of months, and it just turned direct on the 22nd of July. So we are literally getting this push towards putting our energy and our aim toward that North Node placement in Taurus, which is calling towards big changes and big shifts in our value system, in what we do in day-to-day life by way of what our belief system is and what motivates us to bring some kind of sense of stability in our lives. So it's a pretty powerful opening as far as that goes. Now, also consider, coincidentally enough, Pluto and Venus, which is represented by the Empress card, are in conjunction right now in the sign of Capricorn. So you're likely experiencing kind of this trine relationship by way of element between where your placement of Capricorn is in your natal chart and where your Taurus position is in your natal chart, because they're both earth signs and they both have these kind of powerful anchors right now, and they're in a 120-degree relationship, right? So there's 360 degrees in a wheel, and if you divide that by 3, there's 120 degrees, which means that there's some kind of ease or help and assistance with this shift and this change. And it's going to be directed in those houses in your natal chart, which are governed by earth signs, mainly Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus. Now, interestingly enough, the way that we're going to be getting through the challenge, which the challenge came through by way of the Empress today, is through the Hermit card, which is associated with Virgo. So it's asking us to practice some kind of discernment in our lives so that we can actually kind of separate what hasn't been working for us and what is working for us, so that we can actually get some kind of forward motion in that direction. Now, the Hermit card is a card that's associated with some kind of isolation so that people can go inwardly to think about things and to like turn things over, but they're also associated with, being overly critical as well, because it is associated with that sign of Virgo. But what I want you to keep in mind is that, the Hermit is at the top of the mountain, and by that symbol, it has a better point of view. It has a better perspective over the ground that it's covered so far and what is useful and what is not useful. So hopefully you can apply that to areas in your life that you are seeking the transformation that you're really being called to right now. Now, consider again that Pluto-Venus conjunction that's happening in Capricorn is going to be in a specific house in your natal chart. So it's going to be pointing to the transformation there. And Pluto is the farthest reaching planet in our planetary system. And so it has the longest orbit. It's around 245, 248 years. So it sits in any sign for around 20 years. It sits there for a length of time and creates change in that area that it is in your natal chart. And it's in kind of the last degrees of Capricorn right now. It's in, I believe it's at around 27 degrees, which is right around where Venus is. So those two energies are looking at each other and working with each other in that area of your natal chart. Now consider that Venus is the nurturer. Venus brings nurturing, mothering, abundance. And in the mix with Pluto, there is this energy of what you need to transform in order to truly nurture yourself, so that you can, move toward the next thing. The Empress card is all about the doorway through which one has to pass in order to get to the next experience. And so consider that, quite literally, the experiences that you have been undergoing for the last, 18 or 19 years are about to go into a new chapter of your life. And that's partially because of the South Node placement in Scorpio, which is where we become reborn and where we learn to let go. And that 180-degree relationship with where the North Node is, which is up in Taurus in our sense of values, which is actually governed by the planet of Venus. So that's pretty powerful stuff. And then our ultimate outcome that we have for today came in as the Justice card, clarified by the Queen of Swords. And both of these energies are associated with the sign of Libra. And what's in Libra right now is kind of telling. It's Ceres, which also has a relationship to Venus and Taurus. And so it really is pointing to asking us what relationships are in our lives that we actually feel nurtured and supported by. And can we, much like the Justice in this card, can we take in all the information and be honorable and truthful with that information, seeing all sides before we actually make our decision in regard to where we're moving toward in life. And keep in mind that the Queen of Swords is active communication, right? It's that cardinal air quality. And so it is asking us to, be purposeful in that which we want to engage in and to call forth that which we want to be a part of right now. Like, we're in the waxing phases of the new moon cycle, which means that just before the sun goes down, you'll see just a sliver of the waxing moon before the sun goes down, because it's going to be reflective of that little, area of light that is on the edge of the moon. And then you'll see it for maybe an hour or so after the sun goes down, and then you won't see the moon for the rest of the night. So we're in this incubation stage. We're in this growth stage, and it's a very powerful time for us to plant the seeds in the areas of relationships, particularly, that we want to move toward and grow in the coming year. I hope you all are well out there and having a good week so far. I am going to leave some links below to my new website, which I'm nearing the completion and going through just, you know, refining a few details of it. So if you want to give me some feedback, you're welcome to do so at rootsofalchemy@gmail.com. And I'll also leave a link to a reading if you'd like to get an astrology reading, or if you have any astrology questions, we can set up some time on Zoom to discuss those as well. I send you a good wish, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.